These are the 10 things you should know if you're planning to move to Englewood, Florida.
And we're getting started right now. The first thing is that Englewood has much more of an old Florida feel than a lot of the cities in the area. So we've done previous videos about Northport, Venice, and Welland Park, but Englewood sort of has a separate, different feel. I mean, they all have their own feel, but I think Englewood kind of stands apart. Some people like the old Florida feel, some people don't. So what is old Florida feel? Explain it to the people.
I think the easiest way to explain it is it feels almost like an island in a different country, almost like in the Caribbean somewhere. It feels like a small town, tropical, very tropical, and very quaint, like a downtown area, which got recently revamped. It's very cool, and the colors that they use, the color scheme that they have, it's very tropical with all the blue hues and some green hues as well.
It's also super rustic, I guess you could say. You know, some of the buildings are a little bit older and have some character, and with some newer ones coming in, and you know, lots of trees and vegetation and palms, and yeah, it doesn't feel as like super manicured. It's like taken care of, but it's not like super manicured, like maybe like if you go to downtown Venice or Welland Park's downtown. Much different feel, super planned feeling. Whereas this feels like it's been there for a long time, you know, and they're keeping the history there, but adding little touches to kind of keep it, you know, revamped and in good condition.
A lot more relaxed as well. Like it feels, not that Venice is uptight by any means, but it feels like it's very, like, things in the downtown area are supposed to look a certain way, while in Englewood, before it was revamped, the downtown area was just like, I really liked the downtown area because it just felt like an old Florida feel. Like it was older, it was quaint, it was very tropical.
Historic,
yeah. And now it looks well manicured and well taken care of, but some of the businesses are still, like, they still look like small town businesses.
Yeah, and I think they did a good job of still keeping a lot of that historic and, you know, old Florida feel with it. So, you know, it's one of those things, I think some people, when they come to the area and they see it, they don't like it. We've talked about this on the channel before, and it's one of those things that the more you go to it, I think it'll probably grow on you, but it is a different strokes for different folks sort of thing. So it's definitely something you want to be aware of.
The next thing you should know if you're looking to move to Englewood is that the home prices there are actually quite affordable compared to other parts of Florida. You're still in a beach town, you're very close to the beach, maybe 10-15 minute drive to the closest beach, and you are also able to find new construction homes. Not as popular, but they're out there, and you're able to find homes in Englewood in the mid 300,000s and upwards.
And that's pretty awesome considering, like, it's a beach town. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's definitely, especially on the Gulf Coast, you know, probably one of the best values as far as a beach town, being able to get a house at those size, that, you know, a new construction or new-ish in all of the Gulf Coast, if not all of Florida for that matter. But if you're a Gulf Coast person and you want something more affordable, Englewood's a really, really good option to consider. Another thing that you should know if you want to buy or sell a home in the Englewood area is that you should call or text our real estate team.
941-221-1897, and we'd love to help you out.
The next thing you should know about Englewood, Florida, and we've talked about this in the other cities that we said that things that you should know, is the weather. So, like all of Florida, hot, humid summers, you're gonna get your shower pretty much every day. It's gonna last anywhere from 10 minutes to maybe an hour. Occasionally, maybe it'll go the whole day, but usually it's 10 minutes to an hour, and it'll probably be dry like an hour later. And then in the winter months, pretty much perfect weather, you know, very little humidity, usually sunny days for the most part. On a cold day, the high might hit 55. On most days, you're talking like low to mid 70s. And then in the spring and the fall, you're looking at highs of around 80, give or take, you know, 5 to 10 degrees. And it's pretty much perfect those times of year.
And another thing to keep in mind with weather too is the hurricane risk. During summer, there is more hurricane risk, and the hurricane season runs from July to November, but that doesn't mean that we'll get hit every single year with a hurricane, but you should be prepared just in case something does happen.
Yeah, it's pretty rare, especially where Englewood sits, that, you know, that this part of Florida as a whole historically has fared pretty well.
Another thing you should know if you're planning to move to Englewood is the seasonal migration. Englewood, Florida has a little bit of an older population, a lot of snowbirds, retirees. So keeping in mind that during the winter, everything is going to be a lot busier than, during your summer months. And also that means, more people in the restaurant, shopping, things like that, a little more traffic as well. So just keeping that in mind that, during the summer, a lot less people. During winter, we have all the retirees and snowbirds.
Yeah, and comparing it to like where we live, Venice, very similar as far as the changes. I would say though, summer in Englewood is even quieter than here. And then the winter is about the same.
I think it's quieter. The winter, it's a little quieter.
Yeah, just slightly though.
Yeah.
And then spring break though gets, oh man, I don't know, but it's probably on par with Venice, but both just have this huge, March spring break spike. But it seems even more like a stark difference in Englewood because it is so quiet in the summers. So when you see it in March, you're just like, I couldn't imagine this many people here. And when you're there in the summer and then you see it in March and it's just like crazy to find a parking spot in the beach. So that's something to be aware of.
And during spring break, we do have a lot of families coming in. So it's not college kids, partying. It's more like families.
Next thing to know about Englewood, Florida is that it is growing, but I would say not as fast as some of the like more nearby cities. So we've talked previously on the channel about Welland Park growing really fast, Northport growing really fast, Venice growing really fast, Englewood growing, but not as fast. So definitely something you want to consider, that if you buy in Englewood, Florida, I wouldn't expect it to just stay the same. I mean, they just revamped the downtown and, so that's already something that's changed. And there might be some more shopping and things like that coming to the area, maybe new developments. But at the same time, I wouldn't expect as dramatic of a change as you're seeing in some of the surrounding cities.
Yes, and there is some new construction going on in Englewood, but there's not a lot, and there is no like master plan communities either being built in the area. It's more single family homes in scatter vacant lot. I don't think there's going to be a lot of growth like the Welland Park area because Englewood's pretty much already built out, but there will be a little more growth and with those vacant lots that are for sale and people building their homes. Another thing you should know if you're planning to move to Englewood is that there's not a lot of shopping. There is some shopping here and there, but there is not a lot of like department stores. So if you want to go shopping, you would have to go to say Venice, Northport, Port Charlotte, or Sarasota UTC Mall area, or down to Fort Myers. But Englewood itself, there is some shopping here and there. There's a Bell's, grocery shopping like Publix, Winn-Dixie.
Yeah, it feels like they basically have your basics covered.
Yes.
Not a lot more than that. And they got a Walmart for you too, so you can get pretty much everything at Walmart. I mean, you just have a Walmart, you got all your basics covered.
And there is like little small shops, thrift stores too in the downtown area and throughout Englewood, more like smaller locally owned stores. But the big department stores, there is not much out there.
Yeah, so I mean, you can get what you need, but if you want a little bit more and you want to do like more like clothes shopping and things like that, they got a little bit of stuff for you. But yeah, you're probably looking at making a 15 to 20 minute drive to get a little bit more to pick from. So something you should definitely know. Next thing you should know about moving to Englewood, Florida is the insurance situation. So as you may have heard already with Florida, prices have gone up. There is some more companies coming in that hopefully will bring in more competition and bring those prices down a little bit. But over the last year or two, a lot of people has saw their insurance go up maybe time and a half to maybe even 3 times. You're looking at $1,500 to maybe $5,000 a year, depending on, the age of your home, where it sits, is it a flood zone? All those things are going to matter. And those are things you're going to want to look at in Englewood. The land does tend to sit a little bit lower there than Venice. So you're going to want to be a little more, aware, I guess, with where the home is that you're buying and where that land sits, so you know what your risks are, and from there it's up to you to make the decision on that and what that insurance might cost you.
Yes, and typically if you have a newer roof, so like 15 years and newer, you won't have an issue getting the home insured. But if it's 15 years or older, that's when you start getting into issues, whether how many insurance companies will insure you, if any. And also if you have like a newer construction home or new construction home, then you basically won't have any issues getting insurance.
Yeah, and also just helps you a lot with your actual risk, you know, just having that newer home gives you a little more peace of mind. So those are all things you want to be aware of.
And the premium is actually lower as well because the risk is also lower. Another thing you should know if you're moving to Englewood is the types of homes and the sizes. Englewood has a lot of single family homes. I think most of the homes in Englewood are going to be single family homes. There are some condos and some mobile/manufactured homes. Most mobile homes are going to be for people that are 55 and older. There is also some villas available, but most of the homes in Englewood are going to be single family homes.
Yeah, and most are sitting around 3 to 4 bedrooms. There's some 2 as well, but yeah, as a whole, I think if you want a home with a little more size, probably a little bit better options there than in Venice, as far as being able to get a 3 or 4 bedroom place. But overall, sort of a similar. Yeah. Sizes and types of homes as far as Englewood to Venice. And if you want something maybe a little bigger, then maybe look at something like Northport. Next thing you should know before moving to Englewood, Florida is the schools. So if you have kids that need to go to school, you'll want to kind of know what you're getting into. Well, Englewood is in Charlotte County. Well, mostly in Charlotte County. I'd say about a quarter to a third of it is actually Sarasota County. Sarasota County actually is #1 in the state for its school system. That being said, Lemon Bay High School is the high school in Englewood, and they've actually been rated very, very well by different publications. You can look up Englewood and all their different schools really on greatschools.org and niche.com. Those are great websites and resources, since we legally can't like tell you, oh, they have great schools. We can just tell you what other people are telling you about them and give you some resources to connect with. But that's something that you should look into, and we can tell you that those are good sources to help you out.
And the next thing you should know if you're planning to move to Englewood is jobs. There is not a lot of jobs in Englewood. There is some like service related or healthcare related or some construction, education. But since Englewood is a small town, there's not a lot of job opportunity there. So if you want to have a job that's not in any of those industries, you would need to drive to like Venice or Sarasota, Fort Myers, maybe the Tampa area. Or if you work from home or have your own business or are a retiree, then that wouldn't be an issue.
If you are looking to buy or sell a home in the Englewood area, we would love to help you out.
Make sure to call, text, or email our team 941-221-1897.
And if you want to know more about what it's like to live in Englewood, Florida, check out this video right here. If you found the video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications to catch the newest videos about living in Englewood and live breezy.